as I've begun to explore awakening, it seems like it sits hand in hand with awareness.
Awakening is a process to becoming awakened, to get rid of the illusion around your life.
Awakening is that which you do to end sleeping. And the metaphor is what we're discussing with the idea of awakening, that most people are asleep insofar as they are robotically going through their lives. They're automatons, just doing what they do, getting their wage check, buying the groceries, and so on, watching television. Most people are just doing that, and they're struggling to cope with life. And there's no sense in them of there being a possibility of having a wider consciousness or deeper consciousness. They're not aware of that. And those people are asleep.
Do you think that the teacher arises when the awakening process is on the go?
Two aspects of that. One is, I believe everything is a teacher, and the other is a person can actively go and look for or ask for and find a teacher to guide them.
And for me, there are many levels to becoming awakened. So you can be awakened on a spiritual level, which is the highest level, but you can also be awakened in your material presence, in your worldly presence. So whenever you feel like the outer circumstances, they are just, everything is against me, everyone is trying to get me, this is an example of not being awakened on a material level. So for me, being awakened is being able to see beyond the illusion.
I'm wondering whether we can experience awakening without awareness. So what is that pure point of awakening before we become aware of anything?
What do you think of the idea that everything is energy?
I want to believe that it is so. I can see it in some circumstances. I don't understand how it works on others. So on this more material level, it's hard for me to understand.
We experience something previously unknown, so that we are asleep to, and in awakening that part within us, it becomes part of our existence. So we bring it into existence, like the definition. But it then goes on to change the way we interact with life. Because whilst awakening is beyond knowledge, so beyond awareness, because the same teachings or readings from a book, or listening to the words of others, hearing their experiences, two things can happen. They can wash over us without impact. So we know them, but yet they are not impactful. But then when we awaken to them, they come into existence within us. And that then encourages us maybe to apply our awareness and expand our perception of them. And we notice the impact that has on our lives. And then that deepens or enhances the awakening.
Your better part that's covered with all this bullshit, with all the illusion, wants to come out. And that's a powerful force. It's within you. But it's very subtle, because the noise is just what you should do, how you should behave. Go to work, come back to work, behave like this, behave like that.
In any moment, there's a particularity of energy. There's a shall we call it a kaleidoscope of electromagnetism around us all the time throughout eternity, and it has quality. You know, you could say it's colored and it's got shapes and it's got patterns and it's got musicality to it, and all of that's going on. And when we're awake, we dance to that music. So awakening is the movement from being unaware of that to actually dancing to that music, metaphorically speaking.
Many live life asleep, unaware or unwilling to explore what lies behind life, behind our physicality. Yet some cannot ignore the quietly persistent voice that is their soul, spirit incarnate. Eager to answer, who am I? Where did I come from? Why am I here? They begin to look for answers. Perception shifts. The idea that there may be a creative force, a creator, a source of all life, God, is no longer ridiculed or dismissed. Coincidences are noticed. Teachers appear. Guidance is sought, found, and followed. Slowly or suddenly, realization dawns. There is more to life than previously thought. Subtle, unseen, non-human spiritual forces touch the heart, continuing to exert their influence as they have done throughout eternity. Those who feel it respond by awakening. New, conscious, more sacred life begins. Potential awaits action. Trust emerges.
So for me, awakening is not a destination because it has no end. There are unfathomable depths within me that I'll never fully explore or discover. So just by that description, it's not outside of me. It's not an ascension to a higher or to a greater. It's a space within me that has no bounds and no end. And each week, maybe even sometimes each day, something previously unknown to me comes into my awareness, and I become awakened then to the new possibilities.
I have this expectation that awakening is comes with a really loud bang, right? It's the big bang of your life. So, and your universe expands from that point onwards, and it's loud and beautiful. So feelings of lack of betrayal, of mistrust, they don't belong in awakening. They are just not true. They cannot be in this.
Now, our job as teachers and healers is to change that state of people being asleep and bring them to a condition of noticing. And what they're noticing is that there's something going on. There's something other than materiality. There's the presence of spirituality. So we're getting them to change from being blinkered in their life direction to being able to participate with the unseen forces willingly, so that they can read the energy of the moment.
My personal experience is that it was a gradual process. Many things combined that led ultimately to me being more conscious, more aware, more willing to look for subtle forces that previously I hadn't noticed or bothered or even considered worthwhile my time and effort to look for them. So for me, it was gradual. But there are people who do have aha type moments.
If you're awakened, everything is sacred. You got rid of the illusion. It's just you've distilled all the toxicity, and you've left with the essence of who you are. And that is sacred. That's the particle of God. So they are indivisible, sacredness and awakening.
I think consciousness and awakening are very closely linked. Of course, somebody can be aware. We would say somebody might be aware without necessarily being awake or awakened, by which I mean aware of spiritual forces, the spiritual aspect of life. We might even say, some people might say soul. I say soul. Is awareness synonymous with being awakened? No, I don't think it is. An awakened person is more aware than they were previously, but you don't have to be awakened in order to be aware.
Awakening is the third expression of Taurus, and it includes the 5 Sabian degrees, the old man vainly attempting to reveal the mysteries, a battle between the swords and the torches, a woman holding a bag out of a window, a newly formed continent, and wind, clouds, and haste. So what we're trying to do is to bring attention to whether these 5 Sabian degrees can be explained in such a way that we understand what is awakening and what we mean by awakening. And the whole mystery of awakening is made clearer to us when we study this.
The moment that we're living now, it's a moment of collective awakening. So there's a lot of us getting rid of all the toxic ideas, of all the useless standards that keeps us grounded and inferior to what we can become.